Hello.
Hello. I'm so excited for this is episode 10.
Episode 10. Can you believe it?
I know. It's been a lot of fun. Honestly, people ask me, when they find out that, we do the podcast and stuff, they ask me, how's it going? And honestly, it's really fun. It's a lot of fun. It's good to be able to vent some things out.
Yeah.
And you and I both like to talk, so I really I enjoy it.
I like that it also gives a place for, I guess, like others to send in their comments. And if they're too shy to talk about it or don't want to talk, we'll talk about it for you. Just give other perspectives, things that are going on. And people are like, oh, yeah, I've been wanting to talk about that. And it's good to hear other people's opinions. Yep. So I think it's going good. I can't believe we're on episode 10, though.
I know. And we've got some guests lined up. I'm excited. So this week we're talking about Quiet on Set.
Mm-hmm.
Before we jump into that, how was your week?
My week was actually good. It was a long week, actually. It was all right. Let me just say it was all right week. It wasn't a horrible week, but Sunday after we were done, I went and had lunch with my friend.
Yes, that place looked amazing. Like, I've been there before.
I have too, but it's been years since I went.
But the food you had, like the plate, I don't know what you had, but it looked amazing.
It was good. It was like a Philly cheesesteak. By the way, I went to 54th Street. That's what it's called. And usually when me and her go and have lunch or brunch or whatever, we go have a few drinks and then I'm home. Mm-hmm. No, I didn't come home till 2 a.m.
Are you kidding?
I'm so serious. It was so unplanned. It just kind of happened. Yeah.
Wait, was he still in town?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, well, that kind of makes it worse though, because it's like your husband's
gone
in town and you're gone.
I know. I was like, I am so sorry. That was not part of the plan. But yeah, I was out to like 2 a.m. And then when he got up and left, I was up from like 5:30 till my alarm goes off like at 6:30, and so I went to sleep. I got home at 2, went to sleep a little bit after 2, and then I was up at like 5:30. My stomach was hurting so bad. And I think it was the food. I don't think it was the drinks. Like,
oh, well, now I don't want to go.
I know. Like, the food was so good. I don't know what it was.
It looked really good. But to be quite honest, now that I know what it was, I probably wouldn't order it just because I'm not a Philly cheesesteak girl.
Okay, so it was a different kind of Philly cheesesteak. Okay. So that's why I got it. Because I like Philly cheesesteaks, but it was a different kind. It had different kind of chicken, different kind of cheese. It was not like your regular Philly cheesesteak. Okay. But it was really good. So I don't know if it was that or the calamari, but the calamari was delicious.
I love calamari.
But I felt like I had a knot in my stomach the whole night. And so I was exhausted all day Monday. Like, it wasn't even a hangover situation. I was just tired. I was beyond exhausted. I was out by like 9:30 that night. And luckily, baby girl was good. She didn't fall asleep early, but she does really good most of the time, knock on wood. I can just give her bottle, turn off the lights, and she'll go to sleep. And that's what she did Monday night, so she let me sleep. But yeah, it took me, I'm old. I can't drink like that. So it took me a while.
I am older than you. Hush your mouth.
It took me a while to feel like myself again. Like, I think Thursday, I picked up an appetite and I was like, okay, I'm ready for the week. And it's the end of the week. But I had a good week. I mean, I'm ready for this week because Easter's coming. I know we were talking a little bit before we recorded about Lent.
Yes.
I gave up Red Bulls and dark sodas. I've been craving a Pepsi for so long. I can't wait.
So I gave up coffee, and let me tell you, I am dying. I need my caffeine. I like my caffeine in the morning. Mm-hmm. Now, sometimes I'll do just a straight coffee, or I'll do like my protein shake, but coffee flavored.
Yeah.
And I haven't had that, and it's killing me.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just like, ugh. When is Lent going to be over? I'm missing my coffee. I'm missing it. So I wanted to kind of, it's not a tea time, but I wanted to kind of talk about something that happened yesterday. Mm-hmm. So we went out to eat for my birthday. My birthday's on Tuesday. And so my family was like, let's go out to eat. Let's celebrate since it's during the week. I was like, okay, cool. So we went to one of my favorite places. We went to Mercado Juarez in Arlington.
Okay.
Love that place.
I've never been there.
I love to go there because they have cabrito,
okay,
which is goat, baby goats.
I love it.
It's so good. Oh, and it was delicious yesterday. Everything was good. I got plenty of desserts. I showed you some of the cupcakes I got. But the drama wasn't until we left, and my mom is going to probably kill me for talking about this. But we're getting in the car, and I see my sister's face. She's walking towards me because my mom made me some capirotada for Lent. She makes it for me every year as part of my birthday, present or whatnot. She makes me a little small thing of capirotada. And so my sister was bringing it to me. No. She was just walking towards us because my sister had parked next to me. And I see my sister's face, and I'm like, why she got that face? Like, she's just got this, like, holy shit face.
Oh,
like,
my gosh.
And so I'm looking at her, and I'm like, oh, my God, what happened? And then I look over to my dad's truck, and they were parked a little ways down the way, and he's got a huge diesel truck.
Okay.
Really big. And I look over at it, and I see, like a greenish, yellowish tint on the side of his truck. And I'm like, don't tell me somebody freaking hit his car while
what color is his truck?
It's black.
Oh, okay.
So it stood out, like, really bad. And so I'm like, please tell me somebody did not hit his freaking truck while we were inside eating. And so then my sister gets closer, and I'm like, what the hell happened? And she's like, Dad hit the pole.
Oh, he hit the pole.
He hit the damn yellow pole.
Oh, my God.
So the whole side of his truck, and it's a pretty truck.
Yeah.
It's not brand new, but those big diesel trucks, like,
yeah.
And and not to talk crap about my dad, but he is a horrible driver, and so is my sister. So she gets it from him. They are both horrible drivers. But yeah, so that was our little drama. So I was like, I'm not even gonna, like, talk to my mom or my dad. Like, I'm just letting them go home because I can only imagine the cussing and yelling that was going on in that truck on the way home.
My feelings would be hurt. I don't have it. Mine's a 2020. So if I did that, I would cry. Like, that's my baby. We put hard work into our vehicle, so I understand. My gosh.
He can be very careless sometimes and just kind of like in a rush. And I can't ride in the car with him for very long periods of time because I get my anxiety and I get car sick. So
yeah,
but yeah, that was our little drama yesterday, sadly. But yeah, it kind of made me feel bad because I was like, oh, we're supposed to go for my birthday, and now we're
Cindy's sister got us birthday gifts.
yes. She says, I got y'all birthday, or she says, I got you something for your birthday, and she says, I got something for Tina, too. I'm like, wait a minute, it's not Tina's birthday. But she got us some cups. So we have our Boss Up and Tea cups with our logo on it.
They're so cute.
And our names.
Yes.
So very cute. Love it. And so thank you to my sister Stephanie for those. I appreciate it very much. And then we didn't mention it last week, but we have a new backdrop behind us with our logo. Thanks to Justin Chavez. He's the one who hooked us up with our beautiful backdrop. So
I love it. It is gorgeous.
It's wonderful. We love it. We're getting there, guys. We're slowly improving here and there.
Moving on up.
Yes, for sure.
And we are very well aware about the audio issues from last week's episode. We're learning, you guys.
Bear with us.
So we know that Brittany goes in and out, so that just gives us another reason to have her back on.
Yes, most definitely. And she said, and I went to go see her Thursday to get my nails done finally. Yes.
I know they're gorgeous. I love your nails.
Thank you. And so I told her, I was like, I told her, I was like, thank God it happened with you so that we can have her back.
Yeah.
So we
hopefully
will definitely
by our
have
next guest, we'll have it all situated. We know what we need to do. Now it's just, we need to get it done.
Yeah, just some things we got to get ordered and adjusted. Like we said, we're still learning the audio part of it, and everything. Honestly, still learning the ins and outs of it. So, but thank you guys.
And then really quick, I came in with a birthday gift for you. Also, what? It's not physical, but I wanted to gift you brows. Get your brows done. I'm gonna do your brows for you for your birthday. Okay.
Finally,
so, yes.
You're
I'm like, just stop thinking about it. Stop going back and forth. So, I mean, technically we have gift cards, but I didn't have time for all that.
Yeah.
So, I'm giving you the gift of brows.
My brows.
Let me know when you're ready.
Okay.
And I got you.
All right. Well, thank you, girl. Thank you. I appreciate that.
All righty.
So we want to jump into this subject. Before we jump in to our TikTok people who are watching, TikTok is very sensitive, and there's some things that we can't say. And instead of trying to watch what we say and watch our words, we're just going to end our live on there. But you can switch over to our YouTube channel. We are live on there right now, and it is Boss Up and Tea is our channel. So go over there, switch over to there. Like we said, we are talking about the Quiet on Set documentary today. So it is a very touchy subject,
Yes.
and there are some triggers and whatnot. So just kind of a warning for our subject today. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and end my live. Switch over to YouTube and watch us live on there.
I'm
Boss
also
Up and Tea.
live on Facebook. I don't know how sensitive Facebook is, but I'm not going to stay live the whole episode. So yes, everybody, go to YouTube, Boss Up and Tea, subscribe. I'll be live here for a little bit. So before we get started, I do want to go ahead and give the trigger warnings for SA, child SA, and abuse. There's probably more, but just those are our trigger warnings for this episode. So if you cannot listen to this, go ahead and wait for our next episode or go back and listen to our other ones. But let's get into it.
Yes. Let's start.
So I watched the entire thing. So I actually wonder if there's going to be a season 2. Because am I missing something? I only seen a season 1.
So right, there's only a season 1.
Okay.
This is my thoughts on the whole documentary as far as the seasons.
Mm-hmm.
I do believe that there's going to be a season 2. Either they'll have other actors as season 2,
Mm-hmm.
or it's going to be a Disney version.
Okay. I was kind of thinking that way too. That it might be a Disney version. So I watched it, and then I know I told you I'm going to rewatch it and take notes. So I did start rewatching it and taking notes. However, my busy mom life didn't allow me to finish watching all the episodes. So, but I mean, we can still talk about it. I mean, as we're talking about it, I'll remember more. But I think the first 2 episodes, and I have like 4 pages of notes. So it's just very much overwhelming. And I was going to wear, so I just want to say how the kids being kids, a lot of them were saying, we were kids, we didn't know, we were having fun, and yeah, there were certain things that were making them uncomfortable, but they kind of were like, they were too scared to say anything, and even adults were kind of oblivious, because I was gonna wear this hoodie I have. It's a Nickelodeon hoodie. It has Nickelodeon right across, and I was like, I don't know, I really don't feel comfortable wearing it, but I was just gonna wear it just to show the fact, like, I got this hoodie like 2 years ago from like Ross or something, because it was like childhood. Oh, look at this cute Nickelodeon hoodie. And it's like, I didn't pay attention to any of that. But some of the shows I didn't watch, like my niece watched and my kids watched, so it's like some of the stuff I didn't even see.
Yeah. So I was going to say that the Nickelodeon, well, everything based in the documentary was a little bit past my time. Like
right.
When all these shows that they talk about on the documentary were going on, I was already either in high school or, already out of high school, because I graduated in 2000. So I was already like, this wasn't my generation to watch.
Right.
My sister, it was for her. I was just never a Nickelodeon person, I guess.
So I watched a little of Kenan and Kel and all that. But like,
see, I didn't even watch
the Sam and Cat and Drake and Josh. That was like my niece's time, and I know my kids watched a little bit of Drake and Josh. I mean, it wasn't too much, but yeah, that's the most out of that I watched. Besides the cartoons, but yeah, those shows I watched all that, and I watched. What did I just say?
All that and
oh my gosh, my mind just went blank.
I don't know. I don't remember. So okay. So we watched it. We both watched it. It talked mainly about Drake Bell, obviously, and Amanda Bynes.
Yes. The Amanda Show.
So yes. So I don't even know where to start with. I guess let's start with Dan Schneider.
I was gonna say So
let's start
the
with
biggest
him.
one that they talked about was Dan Schneider, but they didn't even they didn't they started like saying who he was, how he got into it, but then they went. It was kind of a mess. It went everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's
Mm-hmm.
stories was everywhere. It wasn't like something that you can like a timeline flow. You know,
Right.
it kind of went bounced around, which I guess talking about like Drake, he
So he backed up Dan. He said that Dan was the
yeah
only one there for him from the Nickelodeon company, I guess you would say,
Mhm.
or from the staff, that was really there for him when he was going through everything. And he's the only one that's really, checked on him and asked him how he was doing. Um, which I don't know how I feel about that, because I feel so. The documentary, if you guys have watched it, Dan Schneider, there's a bunch of people who say he was rude, he was an asshole, he
Mhm.
was mean to the women on set, that he was, very like hands on with the younger girls on set, specifically like Amanda Bynes, Jeanette McCurdy, and there was who was the first one that they talked about? Katrina. Was it Katrina? Was that her name? I think that was
I
her
have
name.
everybody's name. Katrina Johnson.
Katrina Johnson. She was the
Yes.
first one that was kind of like his protege until he found Amanda Bynes.
Right.
But what bothers me is that nobody has really said, yes, Dan did this to me, or Dan did that to me.
Right.
Like, there's not been any actual accusations of any sort of sexual assaults against the women. Yes, he was an asshole. Yes, he made inappropriate content. Because some of the content, like going back and watching the documentary and
Mhm.
seeing it, because I never watched it as a kid, and going back and seeing it now, I'm like, how the hell was this on TV?
Yeah. So I kind of noted a lot, not a lot, a few of the scenes that
Mm-hmm.
were that they kind of
Pointed out.
pointed out. Yeah. So some of the people, I'm just going to list some of the names that I just wrote down. I kind of underlined them. There's obviously a ton of kids, right?
Mm-hmm.
But Jamie Lynn Spears, Ariana Grande, there was Leon. I don't know. I don't want to mess up his last name. Freyerson, Katrina Johnson, Amanda Bynes. There was Giovanni Samuels, Kyle Sullivan. We had Drake. Someone else, but they're so apparently he had a lot of the boys in leotards as their costumes.
Right.
And
even when they said they were uncomfortable with the situation,
right.
they still had to do it.
And one of them, I don't remember who, but one of them, he was like, what did they say, an unborn rapper or the youngest rapper alive?
Yeah, and he was in like a fetal costume.
It was skin tone because he
Mhm.
couldn't be naked. And he said that whenever they were doing, well, first of all, he said that made him uncomfortable.
Mhm.
Second of all, he said that when they were trying to find the perfect one for him, somebody said, "Oh, we need a charcoal color."
Yeah, just because he was black.
Yeah. And he's like, that's stuck with me this entire time.
Mhm.
And Brian Hearn, that's who it was. And Brian Hearn's mom,
She was the only one who who spoke up on the set.
She even reached out to his talent agent and she hushed her.
Uh-huh.
And was like, no, like
this
is
for
his
Brian.
career. Like,
Yeah,
do it for him.
Do it for Brian. Mhm.
And it's like she's seen these things and they were like telling her to shut up, be quiet for his career. It's like she couldn't even say anything. And I think she said his very first episode, it shows him trying to sell Girl Scout cookies, basically. And
made him look like a drug
dealer.
Mhm.
Yeah, and she was like, why is the only black kid made to look like a drug dealer?
Right.
And I was like, I mean, I think as a mom, if I seen that, I would want to say, I don't care how much you're getting paid. And a lot of this, so when my oldest, he's about to be 19. I want to say maybe when he was about 7, they had a casting here in DFW. And he actually made it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm glad I didn't go through with it because I just can't imagine. Like, I can't even say what I would have done. Yes, today I say, oh, I would have spoke up, I would have did this, but I was also a young mom, you know? So what if I would have been too intimidated to say anything as well? and imagine what my son could have possibly gone through. The reason we didn't go through with it is because we had to pay, what was it? We had to pay something basically to get his portfolio started.
Right, like headshots. You got to do all that
And
stuff.
it was like almost $1,000 to get started. And like I said, I was a young single mom.
Right.
And I was like, this financially does not work. And he was excited, but he wasn't overly excited about it. So I didn't feel like I was crushing his dreams. You know, it was something that I was just trying to push him like, hey, look, they're doing this. And yeah, he made it. They're like, okay, this is how much it is. And it just, the entire time I was watching this, I was like, what if I would have gone through with it? What if he would have made it as a big movie star, TV star? You know, it's
but what's the price of fame? Like, honestly, because so growing up, my mom pushed for me to be she wanted me to be in acting and modeling and stuff like that. So I did do some modeling when I was younger. I was, in different little local
pageants,
stuff. Yeah, local stuff. And she took me to like TV commercial auditions and stuff like that. There was one in particular that I remember. It was an audition for a McDonald's commercial. And I give her hell all the time about it, because you were supposed to say, Mom, let's go to McDonald's. And she was like wanting me to like stand out. And my mom was trying to like prep me. And she was like, trying to get me in. And at that time, that's not what I wanted to do. Like, I wasn't into it.
Yeah.
Now I think back and I'm like, oh man, I could have been like, possibly, famous or whatnot.
Yeah.
And my mom's like, as animated as a person as you are, and as much as you love to talk, and as much as I don't know why you didn't want to. And I was like, at the time you were pushing me, so of course I wanted to do the opposite.
Right. Yeah.
And so I didn't really follow through with it. And it's the same thing. Like if I get emotional during this episode, I apologize, in advance. But, I went through enough trauma in my childhood as it is. I would hope that, I'm glad I didn't go through with it in at the end of the day, because like you said, what if something more could have happened? What if I could have gone through, a more traumatic experience? I mean, everything happens for a reason.
Yeah,
I'm a firm believer in everything happening for a reason. So there's a reason why at that time you couldn't afford to do that for your son. There's a reason why I, didn't pursue it. It maybe to keep, us from going through that. But these actors and actresses that get involved in it at such a young age, and I'm going to use Amanda Bynes as an example, because she was in the spotlight for such a long time. And I don't know if you've seen her on TikTok now or if you've seen her recently.
I haven't.
But there's clearly something wrong with her.
Yeah.
Like, she's been through some things. And I really wish, and I know that she, I think, has tried to talk about it, and everybody's called her a liar before or didn't believe her. But I really wish that she would use her voice now that she's not in her, because I don't think she's in her conservatorship anymore. I don't think she's, I
don't think so either.
But I really wish that the women, if Dan Schneider did abuse them in any sort of fashion, I really wish that they would come out and speak that truth and actually give details to it, as painful as it may be, because Dan Schneider's still in the industry. And that's what blows my mind about Brian Peck, the one that abused Drake. So watching the documentary, Drake couldn't even like go into detail on what he went through, what happened. Yes, he said that he was sexually assaulted by Brian Peck. He went and, described, the first time that it happened, that he was actually, his dad was his manager for a really long time. And then
his dad's seen the red flags.
Yeah, his dad was trying to keep him away from him. And he manipulated Drake into making him think that his dad was, not a good manager, that his dad was possibly, taking his money. So he convinced Drake's mom to become his manager and to push basically the dad out of the picture.
Yeah, they actually didn't have a relationship for a while. And the hurt on his dad's
That
face,
broke my heart watching
yes.
him.
When they asked him, how did that make you feel? He was like, how did it make me feel? He's like, how does it still make me feel? And it's like, looking as a parent, you feel like you failed your child, even though you tried and you were pushed away. Like, I don't blame Drake. It's not his fault, He was being manipulated, and that's what he was told to do because for his career, And I'm just mind blown by they gave him a slap on the wrist and allowed him back in Hollywood.
16 months. 16 months is what
And they had
proof,
solid proof. They had him recorded admitting to everything.
So some of the things that he was charged with: oral copulation, use of a foreign object, sodomy, forcible penetration, and employment of a minor for pornography. And that right there, those charges right there, just, I mean, even Drake said, he says, just use your imagination. Yeah. Just use your imagination on the worst possible sexual assault that you can imagine. He says, and that's what happened.
Yeah.
So, and by listening to what he was charged with, because Drake obviously had to go into detail with the police,
right,
and, the court system as to what actually happened. But just hearing that right there, this poor kid, the fact that he's able to speak about it now, the fact that he's able to have a family and live a semi-normal life, I mean, kudos to him for being able to do that and
I think
work
he
through
said
it.
that he's still in therapy.
Yep.
And I just I'm glad that he knows that he needs it. He's not like, you know what, I went through therapy as a kid, whatever, I'm just going to try to live my life without it. But knowing that that's what you need to do to have a, like you said, somewhat normal life. Like, it's sad, but it's kudos to you for trying to maintain a normal life and knowing that you need help and not just blowing it off like it's fine, Yeah. Like, not ignoring it,
And not only the effects that it had on Drake, but I mean, so this was all going on at the time of the start of the Drake and Josh show.
Yeah.
So nobody really knew that it was Drake, but now Josh is finding out on what was going on, what happened. So it not only affected Drake, but I'm sure it's affecting Josh as well. And the other stars. I mean, even on the show, they talk about one of the he was a producer or something. Yeah, he was one of the producers. And when they were talking about the charges against Brian Peck, he was like, well, it wasn't somebody on the show, was it? And they were like, yeah, it was one of the child actors. And he was like blown away. Like, what? Yeah. So people finding out that it was, happening on set. And it wasn't even just Brian Peck. No. There was, like you said, there was Jason Handy. There was Ezel, I think his name was Ezel Channel. He was another sex offender. That my thing is, why are they allowing these people? Now, I can understand if they've never been convicted. Yeah. They've never been convicted. Then how are you supposed to know? But some of these people had previous charges of being a sex offender. I think that Ezel, he was a previous sex offender.
And I don't care if it's not even a child charge, like a child sex offender. If you're a sex offender at all.
Yeah, if you've had any type of sexual assault charge.
Like, you should not be around kids. Like,
well, yeah. And then, like we said, Brian Peck was later hired by Disney. And this is why I said there's going to be another round of this with the Disney Channel. Because Brian Peck then went to work for Disney on The Sweet Life of Zach and Cody. Yeah. Which was another big hit show. He was on that show as well, or worked behind the scenes on that show. So, I mean, how many kids does this man have to hurt in order for somebody to actually do something? Like 16 months? This guy was in prison for 16 months.
I think that just blows my mind. Like,
but yet we want to send people to prison for 20 years
for a weed charge.
For drugs. that insane.
It's crazy. So one thing that I noted, so Brian Peck was a acting and dialogue coach. Okay, everybody knew him as Pickle Boy.
Mm-hmm.
That
right there. Okay, the scene that they showed in the documentary where he's like sticking the pickle in the hole. What did that remind you of?
Yeah. So okay, hold on. But before that, I guess the commercial or whatever for Pickle Boy, the theme song, whatever saying was, Pickle Boy likes to hurt and tease pickles. Yeah.
I didn't catch that.
Yeah. Likes to hurt and tease pickles.
The part where he's sticking the pickle in the door, it's like it was a hole in a door. It was like a glory hole. Like, right.
Yeah.
And there's other actors that are going along with this. Like, it blows my... How... Like, there's so many adults on set of these shows. How does somebody not speak up and say, this shit ain't right?
Yeah, like that.
This is a kid's show. Now, if you're working for HBO, Cinemax...
Yeah.
Go ahead. That's different.
But yeah,
this is a kid's show.
And then, so it was the scene that I remember when he's sticking the pickle through the hole. It's for Raymond from Everybody Loves Raymond. He was, I guess, stuck there. So he was like, I'm hungry, I'm thirsty. So they gave him the pickle. Then they show him leaning against the door, listening to him eat this pickle. Like, it's so good. I'm just like, this is not an adult show. Like, okay, and then another thing, everybody's always like, well, where are the parents? Right? So they said legally the parents were supposed to be present at all times. Reality of it was most parents stayed out of the way. They didn't want to be in the way.
See? And if that was me, my kid's on set, I'm going to be with my kid.
Yeah, absolutely.
My kid goes somewhere, I'm going somewhere.
I need to see my child at all times. And then, like, when they were trying on different costumes, I can't remember off the top of my head who it was and what parent, but they kind of pushed the parent out of the dressing room. Like, no, they're going to go try this on. You know, you can go sit and wait over there.
That was Amanda Bynes' dad.
Was it?
Yep.
Okay. I was like, I can't remember who it was. But yeah.
They said that he was very questionable as well. Like, because he was so close with Dan Snyder.
Yeah.
That he was very questionable as well, as far as some of his actions and stuff. So some of the other child actors were saying how they felt uncomfortable around Amanda's dad.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So yeah, it was both of. I mean, it was. I don't know. I feel bad for the parents because I understand you're trying to. Your child's possibly going to become a celebrity and is going into this fame, and you want to support them and you want to do and you've got all these people telling you, oh, well, this is typical. This is what we normally do. Normally parents aren't, yes, they're supposed to be, but normally the parents aren't on set. No, yeah. Bullshit. And I'm going to be with my kids.
Yeah, and that's why I think of myself, like, today I would absolutely be there. Like, nobody's going to push me out. But then when I was a young mom, I think I would have been pushed out. Like, I would have been like, oh, okay, I'll wait right here. So it's like, I can say what I would have done, but nobody knows what you would actually do unless you're in that position.
Right.
Like, today I know I would for sure, 100%, but I can't say that as a young 20-something-year-old with a little boy, you know? Mm-hmm. It's almost like just how we send our kids to school. You're sending them with trust, like, that they're going to be okay and taken care of because these adults are supposed to be taking care of these kids, not hurting them.
Let me tell you, if I ever find out that somebody's hurting my boys,
yeah,
it's over for them.
Yeah,
I mean,
I've said this before. Every day after school, I'm like, "What did you do?" And like, he'll tell me little things like, "Oh, so and so pushed me," and what did you do about? Like, I want to know everything.
Well, and I tell my boys too. Like, even when my son had his soccer game on Saturday, like there was a little girl Okay. So the soccer team that they were playing, they were like a good foot taller
I
than
was gonna say, I seen your snap, and they look like some big old kids.
they
I was like, I
were.
hope
They
Dalen's team
were.
doesn't play them.
So they were like a whole foot taller than our team. And it's funny because when we play indoor, we were like the bigger team. And when we're playing outdoor, we're like the smaller team now.
Mhm.
And so, but my son, my little Gordo, he's like smaller than this girl. And she's like pushing these kids, and we lost like 4 or 5-0.
Mhm.
But I mean, I will say that our defense was killing it. Like, I'm
Mhm.
not going to lie. But anyways, um, so he was getting pushed, and I told him, I said, you come here. And I pulled him off to the side, and I said, you don't let anybody push you.
Yeah.
You push back. If they're pushing you, you push back.
Mhm.
Don't let anybody push you like that. I don't care what parent hears me.
Yeah.
Your kid's pushing my kid, I'm going to tell them to push back. And so, and I said it, pretty loud. And so he goes back out there, he's playing and everything. And I'll be damned if he doesn't, he's pushing her and he trips her. She falls. She's a whole like foot and a half taller than him.
Yeah.
And he tripped. I was like, you do it again. I was so proud of him. But yeah, you don't want your kids to be intimidated like that. And so
Yeah.
when they're in school, like you said, I'm always telling my boys, you tell me if somebody's touches you the wrong way.
Mhm.
Nobody should be touching you. Nobody should be, and I go through it with them.
Yeah.
And I tell them, don't let anybody, and you tell me,
Mhm.
because they know how angry I get. And
Yeah.
they know how angry I get at them, as far as, when they don't do what I tell them to do, or they get in trouble at school.
Yeah.
So they have to know that we've got their backs like that, though.
So this is Dalen's first year in school because, he's a December baby. So he's
Mhm.
in pre-K. And one of my first questions was, what happens when you go to the bathroom? Do you go by yourself? Does a
Mhm.
teacher help you? What happens when you use number 2? Do you ask for help, or do you wipe yourself, or does some? And he said no, that the teachers stand outside the door and
Mhm.
they let them go in.
Mhm.
And I'm like, okay, good. I had to ask these
Yep.
questions. And he's still learning. Sometimes I have to go behind him and wipe him. So that was kind of one of my Dalen's my chicle. He's
Yeah.
been by my side since he's been born. Like,
Mhm.
working from home. My mom watched him a few times for a little bit, when he was smaller, but as he got more self-sufficient, he just stayed with me at home.
Yeah.
So this was a big change for both me and him. So I was like missing him. I'm not gonna lie. When he first went, I was like, he doesn't need pre-K. It's okay. I could just go pull him out. He can stay with me another year. But yeah, that's one of my biggest things. And sometimes I feel bothered by it, but I don't like that they don't help him. Like, I don't feel bothered because I know that they're not doing anything that they're not supposed to. But sometimes he'll come home, and good thing he wears a belt because sometimes his button will be undone. I'm like, why is your button undone?
Mhm.
Oh, I don't know. I guess I forgot. I'm like,
Or they can't do it.
yes.
Yeah.
I'm just like, y'all don't see my baby's button undone. Do it for him.
Yeah.
But I get it. They don't want, and that's fine. But it's just like those little things. I'm a very protective mom of all my kids, but
Mhm.
it's like, especially when they're little. But
And it goes back to where, we say, and I hate to put the blame on the parents, because obviously they were probably, like you said, they were put in a situation they had never been in before. But at the same time, like, and the parents were, I'm sure, loving the money that they're getting.
Mm-hmm.
But look at what cost that money came. Your child's mental health.
Mm-hmm.
Look at Amanda Bynes. Look at Drake Bell. Look at Lindsay Lohan.
Yeah.
I mean, she wasn't talked about on the documentary, but we all know she went through some things too. Britney Spears.
They say that Ariana Grande is not going to speak out because she still has some type of tie to Dan Schneider. Like, I think they're still in business together, or
I think that's the case for a lot of them. The ones that aren't speaking out, I think that's the case for a lot of them.
I'm like, Ariana Grande, you are huge right now.
She could be the voice.
Right, exactly. And I don't care. I feel like you can't have that. Like, that business relationship can't be that much of a liability to you to be the voice for everybody else.
Like, is the money he's making you, is it worth it? Like, how can you sleep at night knowing that you could say something and save another kid from going through the trauma that you went through?
Right. And I don't
But
think
you're not going to
I don't think it would
because
hurt her
you're
career at
making
all.
I don't think so either. But
Yeah.
I'm sure she's got publicists and, all these people in her ear telling her, oh no, it's going to hurt your image. People are going to view you as a victim now. You're not going to be this independent, strong woman that you are perceived as now. So, yeah, it's going to hurt your image. So that's what she's probably got in her ear.
Yeah.
And I'm sure Dan Schneider's filling the pockets of those people who are in her ears.
Right.
It's insane. It's insane.
The hold that he has on these people.
Mm-hmm.
I do, before we get off of Brian Peck, I did write down that he did end up with 11 charges of child sexual abuse. Jason Handy, he was the production assistant.
He had like little bags of items from his victims.
All the way down to like a 6-year-old, I believe, 6 or 7-year-old little girl.
He had a pair of panties from one of his victims.
Yeah.
He had like notes and stuff. But just like little trophies. And it's sickening. Yes, it's so sickening to why these men, and it's not just men. I'm sure there's women sexual predators out there as well, but I don't understand the fascination with hurting children. They're so innocent. You're taking so much from somebody when you abuse them that way, that their mental health is never the same again.
Yeah.
You don't know. Yes, they may live a normal life, but it still affects people in some form or fashion in their life. It will affect their love lives. It will affect the trust they have in people. It will affect them in so many different ways. And it's so sickening to see how people just don't care. They just don't give a shit. And they're just hurting these kids. And they're just, I don't understand it.
Jason Handy admitted to being a pedophile. And I didn't write it down just because I just could not write it down. But he had said something along the lines of, like, he was attracted to little girls. And basically, if you didn't keep them away from him, that he would rape them. And he, like, just flat out said that I would rape them if you don't keep these little girls away from me. And one of the little girls that he was with, they said that he wrote a book or something about the things that he did. And in there, he describes, like, taking her to the room, playing Nintendo with her, and then he started kissing on her and touching on her, but it became too much. And then he was like, okay, well, you make sure you don't tell your mommy and daddy, because then if you do, then I can't get you onto bigger shows. And so you keep this between us. And it's just like, like, I don't know. How do you admit just to being attracted to little girls? And I don't know. It just doesn't sit right with me.
Yeah.
Even today, like on my phone, I have an app that will show us all the sexual offenders in our area. And I bring it
scary?
up. Mm-hmm. And you know how many are around this neighborhood?
It's a lot.
Like, walking down the street, it's crazy. And I'm glad that it shows pictures with it. It has pictures with it. And I show my kids all the time. I don't care if you're quote unquote grown. I have a 17 and 18-year-old boy. And then we have a 14-year-old. She's with us half time. But still, it's like, I kind of like to give them their freedom. I don't want to be too much on them. But I've shown them this app. I'm like, just because they're a sexual offender doesn't mean that they're only coming for females. And I don't care if you think you're grown and you are strong. Like, be aware of your surroundings. You know, not just for someone that wants to hurt you. You know, like beat you up or kill you. Like, when a sexual predator is a sexual predator, it doesn't matter if you're male or female, how old you are. They could have a type of who they go for.
Mm-hmm.
And when I showed my oldest, he was just like, wow. He actually took a picture of it. He's like, can I take a picture of that? I was like, yeah, because it shows where our house is and it shows all around. And I was just like, be aware of your surroundings, because sometimes when he's having a bad day, one of his coping mechanisms to relax is, I'm going to go take a walk. And he'll just leave and he'll take a walk and then he'll come back and be like, okay, I'm just like, be aware of your surroundings. Like,
Yep.
I don't care if you're 18 years old, you're still my baby and I don't want nothing to happen to you.
Yep. I mean, it's like we've got some comments on our YouTube right now and it said, it doesn't matter. Anybody can be a victim. And that's true. Mm-hmm. Anybody can absolutely be a victim. That's why I tell you all the time. Even me, when I'm out and about with the boys, I 9 times out of 10 will have my gun on me.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to be that victim. And just because I appear to be a victim or an easy target, I guess you could say, I'm not going to be that victim. I'm going to go down fighting. Like, no matter what, I'm going to go down fighting for me and my boys, and I'm going to protect what's mine at the end of the day.
It's funny. I know we keep going, but I had a similar situation last night. So my nephew stays with us. He's grown though. He's a grown man. He's like, how old does he think he's going to be mad? He's like 27, 26.
Oh, he grown.
Yeah. So he's been staying with us for a few months. Well, we went to go eat, and he had his car and I had mine. But when I pulled up to the house, he wasn't there yet, which I really don't question him too much. Obviously, anybody that lives with me, you just respect my house, respect my rules, right? So I'm like getting the kids ready, and I actually had just walked outside to go throw out some trash. Walked back in, and my dog is going crazy. When I say he's going crazy, he's just like barking. So I leave the kids in my room and I close the door and I'm like, what? What are you barking at? So I open the back door and he jets off to the right and then goes to the left. And then he comes back in like he was checking the backyard. And I'm like, what? And then he's standing there looking at me. He's like breathing. He's like, he's like barking. I'm like, what is this?
Yeah.
Like, what are you barking at? I was like, oh my gosh. So then I open the door and I see a car parked out in front. And I'm by myself. And I was like...
And where you live, just so people who are listening, the way Tina's house is, she lives in a little cul-de-sac.
Yes.
And so there's a big space in between her house and the next house.
Yeah.
So I could see why there would be, like, cars would just randomly park right there because
but this
of
one
the space.
Was right in front of my house.
Okay.
Yes. So it wasn't like, because usually I can tell like, oh, sometimes people do park in between my house and the other, or they're for the other house. No, this one was right in front of my house. And I opened the door all the way and I let my dog out. And I was like, let's go. So I slowly started walking up to the car. And then I let my dog run in front of me. And my dog ran straight to the car. And he's barking, then he stops, and then someone rolls down the window. I said, can I help you? What are you doing? And he was like, oh, he was waiting for my nephew. He's like, he's pulling up right now. I was waiting for him. I said, you got my dog going crazy inside because he knew you were out here. He was like, I'm so sorry. And then I called my nephew. Well, right when I get in, my nephew calls me. He was like, hey, my homeboy just pulled up. He's waiting for me. I'm going to jump in the car with him and leave. I was like, sir. And he was like, I just thought about it. He was like, I know. But I was just like, I'm home by myself with the kids. Yeah. The dog is going crazy. Yeah. Like, I see a car parked out in front of my house. I don't know who it is. But, yeah, I don't care how safe of a neighborhood you think you're in. I'm the same way. I'm still, yeah, it was just crazy. And then.
Gotta get you some cameras, like, all around the house.
Yeah.
That's how, Brittany. Yeah. She's a firm believer in her cameras, man. Let me tell you.
I know, I'm going to have Alex come hook up our cameras for
real.
Right? But, yeah, it was just like another one of those I had to let my dog out. Come on.
Her and that dog is scary looking, you guys.
He's my baby, but he did his
That's a
job.
big old dog.
Yeah, he did his job, and I was like, thank you. Like, just the fact that he knew someone was sitting out there, like, there's someone out there. That's what he was going crazy for. And then once we came in, he was still kind of hyped up, and I was like, dang, I don't have no treats for you.
Meanwhile, I've got my little bitty pug.
Pew, pew. Oh, your pug.
She acts like a big dog, but she is little bitty. She tries to sound like she's a big dog, but well, I think, for as far as the, quiet on set, I think there's more to come. I think there's going to be a lot more to come from other stars. I hope that this gives them the opportunity. It's an opportunity for them to speak up.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure, like I said, I'm sure there's going to be one for Disney that comes out soon. It might be like I said, a season 2 for.
I think there's going to be a season 2. I mean, there's so much more we can talk about. We can probably talk for another 2 hours about this.
Oh yeah, and we knew this was going to be a longer episode.
Yeah. Orlando Brown is one person that I really wanted to talk about. But I think I'm going to hold off because I want to wait to see if they come out with a Disney one.
Yeah.
I will.
His mental state is questionable right now.
And a lot of people think because you're not mentally stable, like everything that comes out of your mouth is a lie. I don't believe in that.
Okay, let me ask you this. And this may be or whatnot, but I'm going to ask you this. Do you think that Amanda Bynes, before all this happened, seeing how eccentric and how out there she was, even at the very beginning, like you can go back to her sessions or sets, at the Laugh Factory that she would have, that she, and plus all the parts that she played, it was kind of like she had multiple personalities. She could jump in and out of characters. Do you think that there was a pre-existing mental condition for Amanda Bynes? And maybe being around, I'm not saying that nothing happened to her. I'm not saying that. I do think that something happened to her. Obviously we don't know what exactly. But do you think that there was a previous mental condition prior to any of additional trauma that happened to her?
I don't know.
Just kind of seeing, she exhibits a lot of issues now, like possible multiple personalities, possible schizophrenia.
Right. So, I mean, I've never thought about it. So I don't know. I really don't have an opinion.
Go back and watch it and see
what you're
how
saying, it kind of makes sense, but I've never thought about it and I've never looked at it like that. But now, yeah, I'll.
And like I said, I'm not saying that nothing happened to her, but I'm thinking that maybe this trauma, whatever happened to her, pushed her over the edge, because all it takes is one incident, one trauma to really push somebody who already has that genetic makeup of mental issues to just push them overboard. Yeah. So it's just kind of something to think about. Another, like I said, way to look at it. But all right, do we want to switch over and just kind of
lighten up the mood a little bit? Yeah, let's do that.
Lighten up the mood a little bit. Do you have any tea stories?
I still have some stories. Actually, yeah, I have a few. Which one do I want to go into? Let's see. Oh, I'm sorry.
All right, let me pull up. We've got still one in our mailbox that we can discuss. Where is it?
I'm gonna go into a story while you're looking for it.
Go ahead.
So someone sent me a story about their craziest sex story.
Oh, fun! We like those stories.
And this is from a male.
Another male. Yeah. Yes, my goodness. Okay.
I need need these girls to stop being shy. Come on, ladies.
I know our lady viewers,
They're
listeners,
like,
y'all
no.
need to send in y'all's stories because I know y'all got some.
Alrighty. He said, this girl invited me over to come and chill at a get together. We started playing Truth or Dare that involved drinking. Long story short, one thing led to another, and it ended up being a big orgy.
Wait, how many people were there?
I don't know.
Okay, they don't give specifics on how many.
No.
Okay, I don't think I could be that person. I would feel uncomfortable.
Like, wow. So it went from let's play Truth or Dare to y'all just
everybody was just getting
it
on. I could not. I am not that confident in myself. Now, I have said before that I'm a lot more confident now that I've lost all the weight and whatnot, but I ain't ever going to be that confident. Not to have.
I want to know what kind of truths and dares we're going on.
Not to be having a big old orgy from a truth or dare game.
I want to know some of these dares because it sounded like it was more dares than truth. For it to end up in a big orgy, this had to have been more dares than truth.
I want to know the men to women ratio in this too.
I'm hoping
I need more details. There's always more details needed in these stories.
We always need follow-ups on these stories. We have questions.
Exactly. All right, so I'm going to go into one that we got in our email. She says, my husband of 14 and a half years left me a year ago for a mentally unstable woman he met while playing games online. Online gaming. Yes.
Wow.
She said this was just days after she had suffered a pregnancy loss. I'm so sorry, boo. I'm sorry. I confronted this woman and told her to back off, and she still went after him. Not her still going after she knew that he was married. And she says, and his dumbass initiated the inappropriate talks and behavior, so he is just as much to blame. But I think the fact that she knew he was married with kids and still hunted him down is disgusting. Mm-hmm. But true love is true love. Who am I to get in the way?
Not true love, girl.
She said, I think the real pain started when he went out and got a vasectomy a week after he told me he was done. Moved out 2 weeks later, then as he was moving into his own place, told the girls he was moving the other woman into his place the next weekend. So our girls didn't even get a chance to really process anything.
Right.
But he sprung this load of trauma on them. She says, now to be clear on a few things, I have always encouraged my daughters to have a relationship with their father and have told them that they didn't have to like the mistress. Not her calling her the mistress. The other woman. But they would respect her as an adult and, who their father was with. I try my very best not to voice my frustration or disappointment about their father in front of them or when they are angry with him. I will confront them and just say things like, sometimes daddy can be silly, but I never put him down. Well, that's a good thing.
Kudos to you.
Don't ever do that. Let your kids
form their own
opinion. They will one day eventually realize, how the parents are.
That had to be hard because I think because of it being so fresh. Mm-hmm. Like I think I could do that after, we've been separated for a while. Okay, yeah, but like that fresh and you're moving her in, I'll be like, fuck that bitch. Hell no. There's no way.
Tina's a little petty. Can be a little petty.
Look, I try not to be petty, but that fresh and you're moving her in and you want my kids to accept this girl, hell no. Mm-mm. Like it would have to be after some time. Like she said, he didn't even give the kids time to process what is going on. Like, yeah.
I know. She continues to say that over the past year, he has claimed he was going to file for divorce, but never has. I wasn't able to financially do it myself, or I would have started the moment he left. She says, I haven't filed for child support because he wanted to work it out with the Attorney General's office. but has not paid one dime to this date. He is also pissed that the state of Texas, if you're married over 10 years, she's entitled to half his 401k. Yes, ladies, you are. So she says roughly about 30K as of March 2023. She says probably more than that now. Anyways, she said, she goes on to say basically she's, finally filing for divorce, and
Good for you.
she has met somebody new and is very happy. So good for you. I'm happy you finally got that out of your life and have found somebody
Being
new
able
for
to
you.
move on.
Yes.
You know what? This is what I tell everybody in a child support situation. Don't stress yourself over it. While yes, he does need to pay, he needs to help. Don't lose sleep over it.
Yeah.
Because I know a lot of women lose sleep over it. Like, what can I do? He needs to pay. He owes this much. I've seen people be like, he owes $50,000, and it's like, yes, you are entitled to that money. Yes, he should be helping financially. Yes, but don't lose sleep over it. Don't stress yourself out. You be the best mom that you can be to those kids and give them the best version of you. And karma will catch up. Let karma do its thing.
Karma's always going to catch up to you. That's kind of what, after my last relationship, I could have been so petty. I could have been, and he was very petty.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know if I told you, but he like bought me like French bulldog, and he actually, one of them was for me, one of them was for him. But when I left, I couldn't take the dog. Which, if I'd have known how petty he was going to be, like, I should have just taken the dog. But you know what? I'm fine. I've moved on. Whatever. But yeah, I mean, don't
live your best life. Be the best mom you can be. Always tell everybody, karma is a beautiful bitch. Let her do her thing.
Yes, and she does come back with a vengeance. That's for sure. All right, guys. Well, I think that does it for this week. Next week is Easter, so I don't think we'll be recording next week. I think we're going to spend time with our families.
Yeah.
And we do have a guest lined up for April, so
stay tuned.
Stay tuned, and we will keep you guys posted on our next topic when we come back after Easter. So you guys have a good one, and have a good Easter. And we will talk to you guys in a couple of weeks.
Happy Easter, you guys.
Happy
Bye.
Easter. Bye.